been a while, so it's been quite a journey, and I'm just thrilled to be here, thrilled to share with you, and talk about the paradox. Oops, the paradox of being, and it's interesting to stop and think about it because the spiritual journey, the spiritual quest, is filled with paradoxes. Because we have, we like to think of the spiritual or the, what do we call it? The divine and the mundane, right? We have the divine and we have the mundane. We have the spiritual, we have the physical. We have darkness and light. We have to be strong and firm, but we have to be yielding and surrender. We need to have intention, but we need to let it go and let it flow. We have to manifest stuff, but then we just got to speak our word and kind of go on and do stuff and just wait and be ready and be open and willing for things to happen. You don't want to force it, don't want to make it happen. You have to allow it. You have to get out of the way. Right? Or if you're a fan of like Emma Curtis Hopkins, right? Emma Curtis Hopkins, teacher of teachers, the last teacher of Ernest Holmes before he wrote his book, according to legend. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but that's the way I got the story. We're supposed to look a fact in the face and tell the truth about it. Say, no, that is not the truth. The truth of you is this. You're not sick. You're whole, complete, and perfect in every way. So paradox. How do we resolve all these things? How do we look at all this stuff and go, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to be? How am I supposed to live my life in a spiritual fashion? How am I supposed to do all this stuff? Grow up, grow out, expand. Is it all about levels? Are we leveling up like a video game? Or are we just expanding our ability to embrace our own divine nature? Right? Sure, we have higher and lower vibrations. But it's not only about that. It's about being. It's about living our lives, right? Because I can't go about my day. It's like I have a day job, right? I go out and I fix stuff. I'm a glorified handyman, pretty much, is what I do. I go out and I fix stuff in a bunch of veterinary clinics all over Arizona, all over the country. Really, I could be in anywhere in the country on any given week, to tell the truth. Not country, any state, city. Fixing stuff in veterinary clinics, painting, cabinetry, all that stuff. And I am supposed to be mindful of my vibratory rate in the midst of all that, according to those who would teach us spiritual stuff on a day-to-day basis, right? So I have to be mindful, I have to pay attention, be conscious of what I'm doing. Because if I go conscious, God forbid, I go unconscious, there are consequences. I actually literally had a teacher tell me that one time. He says, Lee, when you go unconscious, there are consequences. And he was right. He was absolutely right. When we go unconscious, there are consequences. We might miss something. We might miss some little clue, some little hint that may give us a direction on what to go, or some direction to go. Could be. But if it's important, that message will come back another time. Absolutely. But the going unconscious he was talking about is the kind of unconscious that, now when he told me that was before the onset of cell phones. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember before cell phones? Okay. And Reverend Dr. Ernest Forks, he was one of my favorite teachers in school. He was my practitioner 2 instructor. And he was one of my instructors in ministerial school. And the kind of unconscious he was talking about, and this is important, it's the kind of unconscious like when you are, and we all do it, don't lie. When you're driving down the road and your cell phone's on and you're talking, and all of a sudden you've gone 3 blocks and you don't remember what happened. Right? That's the unconscious we're talking about. Okay? Stay awake and aware. Stay present. Be mindful about doing what we're doing, where we are, and what we are doing right now. So these are the kind of paradoxes we're talking about today, or I'll be talking about. You all be sitting here listening, and you all out there are going to be sitting there listening. So I'll be talking about paradox, and really not so much about paradox, but really about living our life lessons, which is the theme for the month, relative to paradox. So I'll be weaving some of the paradoxical stuff in with really the theme for the month, which is living our lessons, living our lives from a spiritual grounding, and what that means for us. How do we do that? One of the key things that we learn is to be in the world but not of it. Okay? We be in the world but not of it. What does that mean? It means we live here, right? We live here in the physical plane, our feet on the ground, hopefully, walking through the world, living moment to moment, day to day, breath by breath, awake, aware, alive, doing the best we can in any given moment, right? We like to think we do that, okay? We like to think we can bring the best of who we are to any given moment, any given circumstance. And if we don't, that is not a reason, my friends, to beat yourself up with that velvet hammer and say, "No, you failed." Okay? Because we do that, don't we? I've done it. I'll admit it. I've done it. When I fall short, I break out that hammer and I'm like, "Damn it, Lee, you know better." But we don't have to do that. Because every time we make a mistake like that, that's an opportunity to learn and grow and do a little bit better the next time. Because the only time we fail is when we quit. Is when we give up and we quit trying. That's the only time we fail. And maybe we just change direction a little bit. We live in the world. We live in this world. We have to. Okay? We chose to. I believe. I believe we chose to just be right here, right now. We all chose at some level to be here in this moment together because we have something to learn from each other. It's not just about me standing up here, sharing what I've got to share with all of you and all of you. That's a new thing. This is a new thing for me, all y'all out there. And thank you to all of my friends. I put it out in my social media network for the last few days. So we'll see. We'll see. Hi, all. I don't know who's there, but I know somebody's there. Being in the world but not of it speaks to, I'll go back to where I was, the divine and the mundane. Because we like to separate those two things, right? We like to think, "Oh, I'm being so spiritual," but this is not spiritual. Over here. I'll go back to where Oh. Anyway, the divine and the mundane. It's okay. The divine and the mundane. We like to separate them out. This is not something, there is nothing in this world of experience that we have that is not spiritual. Every bit of it. Every bit of it is spiritual. Right? There's not a thing. The chair you're sitting on, the air you're breathing, the glasses that I'm resisting putting on. It's all spiritual. Because in the beginning, what did the divine is, the divine I am, the God, spirit, source, whatever we want to call it, divine purple penguin, what did it have to create from but itself? That's all it had. So it had to create us and everything around us out of itself. So we are it. It is in it that we live and move and have our being, and it in us, as us, around us, through us, in each and every moment. There is nothing outside of it. Ever. And when we partake of its nature, that is living our lessons. Because we speak our word, we set our intention, we create the form, we create the idea, we embrace it, and we set that forward. We speak our word, we say, this is the life I want to live. Full of love and joy and peace and prosperity. These are the things that I want to do and be and have in my life. And it says, okay, as much as you can accept, as much as you are willing to receive. And that's the kicker, isn't it? How much are you willing to receive? How much am I willing to receive? Because I absolutely know it works. And I absolutely know that I'm the only one that gets in the way. And I have. Again and again and again. And I'm over beating myself up over it. I just look at it and laugh and say, you know what? Let's try again. Let's open it up a little bit more. Because what I know is like in the reading that Reverend Jill read, she was taught, there was that passage in there about the river water, the water in the river going around the rocks, around the rocks, and around the rocks. We talk about going with the flow, right? We often use that metaphor of the river and the rocks in the river. But the part that we frequently leave out is that over time, the water wears out the rocks. The water wins, inevitably. The rocks disappear. Given enough time, given enough effort. And sometimes that flow increases, and sometimes that flow in that river decreases. Sometimes the flow in that river is so intense that it tumbles the rocks down out of the way. And the same thing happens inside of us. We give enough attention to increasing the flow of Spirit, increasing our ability to allow Spirit to move through us. We get our little small notions about who and what we are out of the way and allow that to become greater, the greater good we can experience. So we let go of the ideas about, let's see, what's a good one? Oh, I'm just not smart enough. Or, oh, I just don't have enough experience in that. Well, go look it up. Google and YouTube, man. You want to learn something? Google and YouTube, not only, that's just the starters. There's all kinds of free classes you can take online right now. You can learn all kinds of stuff. So that old excuse about, oh, I have to go back to school, I have to nah, no more. Or sometimes you just got to be still and listen long enough inside to know what the idea is or the concept is in us to clear that something out of the way. Because sometimes we can take the other approach, saying, you know what? I am a divine idea within the mind of God. I am love, I am joy, I am peace, I am power, I am beauty. I am abundant, and I am deserving of every good thing that I can open myself and receive. And we pour in, and we pour in, and we pour in, and we pour in to ourselves. We love ourselves. We pour that clean, clear light of love and joy into our own consciousness and stir up that glass of water with a little bit of muck-a-mire in it. And what happens over time? You keep pouring clean water into a glass with a little bit of dirt in it. What happens? The dirt disappears. You've got nothing but clean water left. And that works. Now, sometimes, because I want to tell the whole story, I'm not going to sell it short. Sometimes there is a compacted dirt in the bottom of that glass that takes a little more attention. It happens. Sometimes we got to get in there with a fork or something and dig it up. Okay. And that's when you go find your minister, your counselor, your practitioner, your life coach, whatever, to help you walk through that. Because like Ram Dass said, right? We are all here in the world. Sorry, Joe, left that one out. Like Ram Dass said, we're out here in the world just walking each other home, right? That's why we're here with other people. Because we get to do it together. We get to learn from each other. Living life lessons together. We get to do all this stuff together. We don't have to do it alone. And trust me, I was a big culprit of having to do it by myself all the time. Guilty. Guilty as charged. But no more. Well, sometimes. Sometimes. You see. And sometimes, right, we like to hold on to those things because sometimes those limiting beliefs that we've held on to forever are precious to us. Stop and think about it for a minute. Do you have any of those that are real precious to you? I'm going to give you a moment. Okay. Now, what I'm telling you now is that I'm giving you permission to let go of it. Okay? You get to let go. Because it's okay. Because we get to let go of those precious ones. Those limiting ideas that have just become so valuable to us, right? So I can't do this because of this. For instance, 90 some odd days ago, I quit smoking. I held on to that sucker. That was the last one, man. That was the last really bad habit I had. And it was precious. And I realized, I went back, I did some digging when I was getting ready to let go of it. Because I knew that this time was going to be the last time. And I realized that it was all tied up with all kinds of icky, nasty stuff from high school, from my last couple of years in high school. I was a rebel. God, I was a bad high school kid. I was that kid that was so smart that I didn't care to prove myself to my teachers. I didn't turn in a bunch of homework, but I aced all the exams. What do you do with that kid? They just passed me through. I barely got out. Trust me, barely. I barely got out of high school. We didn't get all that. Anyway, so that's what was all tied up with all my smoking stuff. It was that and a bunch of other stuff. And so I did a lot of work with it. And I said, you know what? I'm over it. I'm done. And there was another part of me that was saying, God, what happens? So what happens? Because I know the spiritual equation. It's like, if I pull the lid off this sucker, what's going to happen? Truly, I was a part of me that was really afraid. Really afraid. But the truth is, it's been a blast. It's been a kick. Because I dealt with it. Because I did the work in advance. I identified a lot of the belief systems, a lot of the fears and anxieties. I identified them ahead of time and said, June 1st, this is the day. This is it. I prepared. I set myself up for success. Set yourself up for success. You're going to make a major change. Lay the foundation. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Lay the foundation that is going to allow you to springboard forward into the new beingness that you want to embrace. I did the work ahead of time to let go of that precious idea, that precious limitation that I had embraced for a long time. Right? Probably, I'm not even going to count, a lot of years. A lot of years. So we don't have to hold on to them. We can choose to be free. And I know there's probably more work to do around that. It's going to come up, and it's okay. Because I have a support system around me to help me deal with it. I don't have to do it by myself. I don't have to be the Lone Ranger. I've got friends who will support me through it. here, elsewhere. Lots of them. I know that. Because a lot of what smoking did for me, this was a big insight. If anybody out there is still smoking, this is a gift. Smoking keeps us safe because it puts up a smoke screen between me and the world. Try that one on. And that's just one of them. All right. So if any of you smokers out there want some coaching, I'm here. Give me a call. So I do that one. So I'm checking my notes. Jill doesn't like the way I take my notes. It's okay. It's the way I learned it. It works for me. Okay. Did that. Intentions, go with the flow. Let's talk about this one. This is a good one. Darkness and light. Darkness and light. Darkness and light are not in opposition to each other. How many of you know that? Raise your hand if you know that. Darkness and light are not in opposition to each other. Okay? They complement each other. They define each other. They need each other. Darkness and light need each other. Stop and think about this. We've got, darkness gets a bad rap. It does. Darkness gets a bad rap. But when we're still and we're quiet and we're meditating and our eyes are closed, is it dark or is it light? Dark. When we plant a seed in the soil, is it dark or is it light? Where is that seed? Seed's in the dark. Now it's going to climb towards the light, but when it begins, when that seed starts its journey to grow into a cornstalk, a flower, an oak tree, a giant redwood, it starts in the dark. We plant our seeds in the dark. We plant our spiritual seeds frequently in some of our darkest moments. And then allow them to grow into the light. It takes both. We need both. We have to have both. Because that is the process. And if you look at the yin-yang symbol frequently, right, you'll have a piece of light in the dark and you'll have a piece of dark in the light. Right? They have each other. They move together. They work together. Right? We have to have them both. Just like fear and love. Fear and love define each other. Sadness and joy define each other. We have to have them both. Nice. Speak your word. We have to have that flow. You see how that flows so nicely together? And the line between the two signifies balance. It's that balance between being and doing. It's called the Wu Wei. I learned that just a few weeks ago from a friend of mine. It's that balance. It really is about the balance between being and doing. We are spiritual beings doing our thing in the world. Right? And yes, we have to take time to have that beingness. And we do things. We do stuff. We like to do stuff. It's nice to be out there doing things, having fun. And it's nice to have that time, that quiet inner time, to just simply be and refill our well. And there are some people that have to go out there and be with other people to refill their well. That's part of the definition, actually, the differential between introverts and extroverts. Extroverts frequently have to refill their well by way of being with people, right? Introverts refill their well by being by themselves. Okay? And that's the beauty of being in the world with people, right? We get to learn all this stuff. The spiritual journey, again, is not a solo quest. We are not the Lone Ranger, right? We don't have to do it alone. Recently, I was in a conversation with a friend of mine. I'm going to begin to wrap it up. Recently, I was in a conversation with a new friend, and actually somebody I had met many years ago but never really connected with. So I knew he was kind of part of the whole religious science of mind, Center for Spiritual Living movement, but I really didn't really know to what degree and how deeply he had embraced it. And I ran into him in an online community I've been involved with. His name is Glenn Morshower. And he asked this question, which I think is just powerful. Just powerful. It says, do you regard your life as a magical, unrepeatable event? I didn't give you that one. I did. It's just magic. It's just magic. Do you regard your life as a magical, unrepeatable event? Because it is. Pardon me just a second. It is magic. Because you get to make it up. Just how you want it. Pardon me while I breathe so I can talk. It is a powerful place to live in when you understand just how creative you are. I mean, really, really get it. Really embrace it. Really speak it. Really stand in it. So be grateful. Be grateful for the insight you get. Be grateful for the love and the joy and the happiness for every moment that you get, that you're gifted with. Lord knows it's hard sometimes. It's challenging. It's painful. But we get to move through it and get to the other side. Right? We don't deny the pain. We don't deny that there are hard times. We don't deny that there is sickness, that there is conflict, that there's war in the world. We know it's all there. What we do deny is its necessity. And we get to do our part to minimize that. We get to do our part to look those facts in the face and say, no more. Not in my life, not in the lives of those around me, not in anyone's life. They're not necessary. Because there is a divine idea within each and every one of us waiting to get out. So let's pray. And so I'm going to begin by simply giving thanks. Being grateful for this moment. Being grateful for the insight, the awareness. Being grateful for the knowing that God is all there is. That there is a divine idea within each and every one of us right now. That it is in spirit that we live and move and have our being. That it is love and light and life and truth and peace and beauty and power, joy. All of this is what divine life, divine mind, God is. And it is in this divine field that we live and it in us. So as I speak this word right now, I speak for myself and for everyone here and for everyone out there online, anybody watching now or watching at any point in time. I speak this word of truth knowing that life and love and beauty are the reality of our existence. That I celebrate life, I celebrate peace, that the light of life and truth right now sweeps aside any doubt or uncertainty about who and what I am as a divine idea within the mind of God. That the love in me as me casts out all fear and lifts me up to see the truth and feel the truth and experience the truth of who and what I am right now. That I live my life lessons. I am grateful for my life lessons. I'm grateful for the awakeness and the awareness I have right now to move smoothly, easily, effortlessly through my life in each and every moment. That every need is met. And that the love in my heart points the way. The divine life and mind and intelligence guides and directs every step of my journey of awakening. And I am awake right here and right now. And so I call each and every one of us blessed. And ask a blessing on all those around the world, no matter their faith, no matter their creed, no matter their station in life, each and every being a divine idea within the mind of God, lifted up in this moment in love and peace and truth and beauty. And so we are grateful for this and for so, so much more. Grateful that we are awake, aware, and alive in this moment to experience each other, to experience life as we walk each other home. And so we let it be, and so it is.